dive in. Falcons and Broncos are the first games on first game on the slate here. Falcons visiting the Denver Broncos in this one. 2.5 point spread. Broncos are favored by 2.5 in this one. Over under total set at 44. And then money line, Denver minus 142. And then 120 for Atlanta. So I don't know where to go with this one, Scotty. I don't have a best bet in this one by any means, only because, coming off last week's loss, the Denver Broncos obviously having a absolutely heartbreaking loss off a last second field goal. But
hey, we're lucky to be in that game, frankly.
Yeah. Whatever makes you sleep at night.
I sleep with the knowledge of 2 straight Super Bowls and 15 straight wins. That's how I sleep.
That's how you sleep. Seems kind of
really well.
Seems kind of nice.
Yeah.
But Atlanta coming into Denver. Denver Broncos. This is actually, I do have a side actually in one aspect of this game, and that is the teaser side. If in case you guys don't know, teasers, anytime you see plus 2.5, 1.5, somewhere in there, standard teaser is 6 points. You pair it with another game, and you can get an extra 6 points in favor of the team that is getting those.
Go Broncos.
Go Broncos, Diacola!
You can have those biddies back.
Thank you for the 100 biddies. Appreciate that. So Atlanta Falcons getting 2.5. That means with a teaser, I could get them up to 8.5. I think this might be a closer game than probably the Broncos would want. And Falcons still have a decent offense. Kirk Cousins and that Falcons offense being able to run the ball, being able to use some of the weapons against this Broncos defense. The Broncos defense did have that down week with Baltimore. Kind of got back on track a little bit, but I mean, again, Kansas City's been struggling offensively in some aspects. So not sure what to expect there. I think the Atlanta Falcons will score some points here, and if they do end up getting to, 13 points, if not more, I feel like they're going to be a good shot at covering this spread at plus 8.5. So I teased up the Falcons as one of my teaser legs, and I think that that's going to be solid there. But I'm hoping for a Broncos win. I think they have a chance to win this game. In the grand scheme of the rest of their schedule, this is one of the tougher games, but winnable. So Broncos do have a bounce back week that they could take advantage of.
I like you state, like, I think they have a chance to win this game. They're the favorite, Chris. So, yeah, they probably have a chance. Yeah, I honestly don't know how to read this game at all. Obviously, Broncos lose in epic fashion, and teams can go one of two ways after that happens, right? They can kind of crumble and fall apart, or they can have some resolve and move on from that and fight even harder and play better down the stretch. So, like, we'll see which way the Broncos go there. I think Bo Nix still has some issues at quarterback. That the Atlanta's defense is not very good. So this might be an opportunity for him to get a little more comfortable at home, friendly confines. Both these teams coming off L's, by the way. Atlanta, a pretty bad loss to a New Orleans Saints team that hadn't won since week 2 prior to last week. Not being able to take advantage of that and get to 7-3 and instead now 6-4, and like now, I mean, fortunately they're in the NFC South. That's, not very strong. They have a 2-game cushion for the division, but like you can't mess around too much. So this one's going to be interesting to me. I don't have a strong feel in this game. I think probably both teams I don't know how to say that, actually. Denver played well. Denver surprised me defensively last week a little bit. I think there was a little bit that KC did to themselves, and I think Mahomes played very poorly last week. But Kirk Cousins, when he's pressured early and often, which Denver can do, because Denver's defensive line, Denver almost is one of the best teams at pressuring the quarterback in the league. If they get pressure on him early and often, he's going to get uncomfortable. Obviously, Surtain will probably take away Drake London, but you still have Kyle Pitts. You have Darnell Mooney, who's been a big part of their past game. So they still have options. And in the run game, they got Bijan, obviously. I just don't know if the offense and Chris, can you tell me who the top 2 leaders for rushing yards on the Broncos are this year?
I would say, well, Javonte started out decent, but he's been non-existent recently. Estime might be in it. Weirdly enough, I feel like Estime's had, I don't know. It hasn't been good across the board for the Denver Broncos when it comes to their running game. That's one thing that has been a struggle. So
it's like the doghouse central. I think Sean Payton hates every one of your running backs and just changes week to week who he's going to play. It's like no reason, no rhyme. Like, I hate them all. One of them's in the doghouse one week. I'll start the other one. I think
will say
the answer is Javonte Williams and Bo Nix. Actually, Bo Nix is top 2 rushing yards.
I
for your team
think the Broncos have gravitated to Estime as being kind of that lead guy they want to lean on a little bit more.
I mean, last week Javonte Williams had 1 carry for 1 yard,
which
obviously he was in the doghouse, and Estime got some carries. But like, the moment Estime fumbles the ball, it could just flip to whatever, or just isn't productive. Sean Payton just does not like the running backs on your team at all.
Yeah,
at all.
And I could, yeah,
that may be fair. But also I don't know. Speaking, well,
real quick. Also, the Atlanta Falcons 3-9 against the spread against the AFC since 2022. And also Broncos 6-3-1 versus the spread this season. Just in general, Falcons have played half their games against the NFC South, which that's. They haven't played a ton of competition, but except it's just one of those things where the Broncos have a little
breaks. Who the Broncos beat?
I mean, they
almost beat a really good team.
They almost beat a really good team last week.
Almost.
Well, they should have.
Who have they beat that's above 500?
I mean, the Broncos have some wins against. I mean, they got the Bucks.
4-6 Bucks. Go on.
Bucks are a decent team. They're a sneaky
Bucks,
team.
Yeah.
They beat the Raiders. They've beat the Jets.
2-7 Raiders. 3-7 or 6 Jets. 3-7 maybe.
Saints and Panthers.
3-7 Saints.
Those are some juggernauts there.
Juggernauts, baby.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm just saying. But here's the thing: the Broncos I feel like the momentum coming off a close Chiefs loss against, a team that's undefeated versus what the Falcons are coming off in their previous game. I feel like, the Broncos have more to be excited about, knowing that they had a chance to win against one of the best teams, if not the best team in the NFL. And I think that will carry them in this game. This will be a close game. I think it'll be within a close margin. I just don't know if it's. I don't want to touch the spread. 2.5 is a scary spread. Real quick in the chat.
Let's go ATL Lab though.
ATL Lab.
I have a question for you, Chris.
Yeah.
Do you know since week 8 the best connection for you guys? What it's been? Do you know who Bo Nix has gone to the most?
As far as wide receiver wise?
Yes.
Is
it is Cortland Sutton.
I was gonna say it has to be Cortland.
Yeah.
Since week 8, 21 passes for 292 yards and a touchdown. I feel like you guys are gonna have to make that work to give you guys a real opportunity. You guys are 7-3 against the spread, just so you know. But if Cousins gets pressured, you guys have a really good opportunity to win. I'm just letting you know.
And Devon Bailey, I think, has been really good. I mean, given the fact that he didn't have a lot of expectations going into training camp, and now he's kind of showing out. He showed out in preseason a little bit. They're kind of giving him some more love, so he's been having some little flashes. Anyways, but the defense has been the defense is the star of the show in Denver.
Overall, I would lean. If this gets to 3, I would really like Atlanta. At 2.5, I'd still lean Atlanta, but I'm not betting it.
Let's see. Get to the chat here. There used to be 17 games until 2021. Oh, just answering some questions there. What else? Anything? I think we're good. All right. So there you go. Broncos, Falcons, going to be an interesting game, to say the least. Let's go ahead. Let's get to the next one here. Packers and Bears. This is, the division that really, everyone's keeping their eye on, right? You got the Packers, you got the Lions leading the division, Vikings and Bears. Bears still trying to hold on. They're on a 3-game losing streak as we sit right now, which has kind of put them in a spot. We both picked them to make the playoffs in the beginning of the season, thinking, the wide receiver core, everything looked great for them. A lot of upside, but they find themselves at 4-5 going into this matchup against the Green Bay Packers. If they win this game, this is a big one for the Bears. Meanwhile, the Green Bay Packers trying to stay in line and up to speed with the Vikings, who are 7-2, and Detroit Lions 8-1. This is the most competitive division, it seems, that we are keeping our eyes on. So Green Bay going into Chicago as 6-point favorites in this one. 40 is the over-under total. It's 40.5. And actually, this dropped to 5.5, which is one of my best bets and where I got it. And then the over, 40.5 money line. Green Bay Packers minus 250. Chicago plus 205. Scotty, dive into this one.
Well, do you want to go? It's one of your best bets. I don't have it. Why don't you start?
Okay, sure. Yeah, I'll dive in. So Green Bay, what I love about Green Bay this week is the fact that they kind of laid an egg last week against the Lions that I felt at home against the Detroit team. They had a really good chance, and they did. They were in that game. It was only a 10-point game, but it felt closer than that. Going against the Bears team, and I think this is more of a testament of the Bears, me not believing in the Bears more so than me jumping on the Packers' love and everything else that they have going. I know Jordan Love, and I know this Packers team can be very good on the offensive side of the football. I think that the Bears are good defensively, so there's some leans to the under in this one. But generally, I just think that the Bears, they did part ways with their offensive coordinator, if I'm not mistaken, this past week. So that was
Correct.
something that's going to, really impact things. Green Bay will be ready coming off of a bye. I think that's a big help going into a game that I think the Bears might, struggle with a little bit. Packers have covered 5 straight in Chicago, winning every game by at least 7, and have won 12 of the last 13, winning 10 by 7+ points. So Matt LaFleur, 19-13 against the spread against the NFC North, covered 5 straight road division games. This is just a good spot to take the Packers. I think they can cover by at least a touchdown here. I got them at 5.5. I think there's some value.
Yeah, Packers coming off a bye, need to get right a little bit after that Lions loss. In that competitive NFC North, they're third at 6-3, behind the Vikings at 7-2, and the Lions at 8-1. So they gotta keep pace there, right? They can't play around too much. The Bears, said they can get rid of their offensive coordinator.
Thank you, Diacola, for gifting a sub to Harps. Appreciate that. Welcome. Harps, you're a part of the big boy club.
Yeah. Keep close. Quentin Johnson having a better season than Travis Kelce. No, he's not. His team is 6-3. And it doesn't matter for Kelce until the playoffs. So let's be honest. Like, he's 45 years old. It's Keep Close's fault. Packers by minus 13.5. Well, that's wild. The Bears got rid of their offensive coordinator because, Chris, since the Hail Mary loss several weeks ago to Washington, they haven't scored a touchdown, Chris. They scored as many touchdowns as you and I in an NFL game.
True. Yeah.
I think it might the issues might go beyond just the offensive coordinator. Eberflus, I don't know if you heard, Matt Eberflus, the coach, got just absolutely. Here's what happened. He has a weekly radio show in Chicago, right? Makes sense.
Yep.
He was on it. He was talking, and he started breaking up, and like where they couldn't hear him. And one of the guys on the radio show in Chicago was like, Matt, are you with us? Oh man, your cell service is just as bad as your offense. Just totally throwing him under the bus. I don't know if he heard that because his service was going out. But Chicago's in bad shape. Caleb Williams, like a lot of people are now saying, he's of the first round QBs that were taken, he's the worst of the four. I think like that's everyone's too reactionary. He's not played up to the level that they need him, certainly these last few weeks, and they got to figure that out. But with that, I don't. Green Bay's probably the right side. My fear is that everyone thinks Green Bay's the right side. They've watched Chicago just shit the bed for 2 weeks. So, like, my fear is everyone's on Green Bay, and that scares me. That's the only reason I'd say with.
Yeah, Keep Close as Packers by minus 13.5. And then also we had Milwaukee's welcome in. Ass kicking of the weekend. No way we lose. Who cares about the spread? Packers win by 21.
I mean, not wrong. Go ahead, Rick.
But that's a head coach.
The other it's usually a head coach.
Usually,
but it also can be an offensive coordinator.
Oh, gee, I wonder. Put up more points than we ever have, and put what up? 300 yards passing. Yep. Oh.
Hold on, Rex. I don't know if this is real, but people in the chat are saying you've been muted all stream.
Wait, hold on. Wait, let me see.
I don't know.
I mean, it hasn't been he hasn't really talked at all until like.
But while we wait
now.
for that, I'll just make my little
Hold
thing
on.
here.
Can you hear him now, Tickle?
Here we go. I think we're good now.
So go ahead, Rick.
Yeah.
He hasn't said a word. Okay. Rex on the Bears, so everyone dump your money on the Pack.
Right. My thing is, you take a look at this team, the Bears. We were so like in the beginning, everybody was like, "Oh, how are they going to be?" And then they came out and actually were all right, and the whole NFC North was above 500. Now they've come down to earth, and now you take a look at this Green Bay game, and you look at them being -6. It's -6 still, right? Is that what you said?
It's minus 5.5.
5.5
Okay.
or 6.
Still. Okay. But you take a look at this Packer team that in week 10, they had the bye, which gives Jordan Love some time to nurse his groin injury. I just look at this as a must-win for the Packers. Like you say, it was for the Bears, but this is a must-win for the Packers. They got to stay competitive in this NFC North with the two teams that are ahead of them. The Bears, like I said, fired Waldron, hired Thomas Brown, but the Panthers scored fewer than 10 points on 4 out of 6 contests were shot twice. Now, obviously, the Bears have more all around. I get that. But I just think I'm thinking opposite of Rec here. I just think that they're still trying to figure things out. and Green Bay is hungry for a win after their loss, coming off the loss in the bye week. But the Bears have been outscored 48-12 in back-to-back losses and haven't won a game in a month. So I'm looking at this as the Packers coming out and making a statement and saying, hey, we're not dead in the NFC North. Don't forget about us. So I have Green Bay in this game, and I think it's going to be at least by 14.
Yeah, home divisional underdogs, 24, 37, and 3 against the spread the last 2 seasons as well. But the Bears defense, top 5 in EPA, number 1 EPA versus the pass. So, I mean, there's some opportunities to slow down Green Bay Packers. I just think the Bears offense is what worries me more so than anything else. That's what the struggle is. And can they figure that out after 1 week? After being, getting rid of their offensive coordinator? Is that I don't know. I would probably lean against it, but that's just me. Packers have rest, urgency, and track record here, says Keep Close. True. Bears are in a bad spot. The Packers just have the best player in the field. This is a no-brainer. Again, that's why I'm on 5.5.
The fact that so many people in the chat are on the Packers makes me nervous about the Packers.
And then you're also nervous about the Bears.
But I'm also nervous of the Bears because Rec is on the Bears.
That's what I'm saying.
say-
You gotta come with, I think you'd rather come with
all.
us. I think you just
I'm
come with
not-
us.
I'm not touching it.
Don't
I would
touch
say
the game.
To be fair, I've been pretty good the last 3 weeks.
Black
So, like
market.
500?
9-3.
Black market, no worries. We will be talking NBA tomorrow night. Make sure you tune in, Black Market, to the NBA Power Hour. We're getting all NBA all tomorrow during our stream. So if you want to talk Cavs, let's do it.
We talked a little bit about the Cavs earlier, but yeah, they'll get
Keep Close saying they're special. I wouldn't say special is the right word to describe the Cavs, but I would say they're pretty good. They're surprising everybody, and they're going to be there in the end. I think they have a
Chris. What do you mean they're
Well,
gonna be
towards
there
the
in
end. I think he meant more towards the end than at the end.
yeah, more towards the end. Yeah, more towards the end of the season as a top
like a
3
playoff
seed. I mean, they are what I thought they were. I
Yes,
mean,
he said they were. He said the 4.
yeah.
But they are who we thought they were.
Yeah, I said they would finish in the top 4, and then that was also with some other teams kind of in the mix as well. When it comes to like the Sixers, which they're not going to be anywhere near it, and they were in that range. But yeah,
Don't remind
Cavs are
Scotty
good.
of the Sixers.
Well, the Sixers, they might not make the playoffs this year. That Embiid might get shut down. So yeah, come back for NBA talk tomorrow. I guarantee we're gonna have a lot of fun talking hoops. All right, so pretty split. A lot of people. You got some people on the Bears, some people on the Packers. Going to be an interesting
one
one.
person on the Bears, everyone else on the Packers.
And Scotty not on anybody.
And Scotty is
because
avoiding
of the
it like
on the Bears. I can't get on the Bears.
Understandable.
Makes sense.
Big talk for the guy in last place.
You're like a half game in front of me, but no one can hear you, Rex. So that's nice.
You don't hear me yet?
Rick, we can hear you, Rick.
Huh?
Don't worry.
Mhm.
Everyone
we
can hear you.
Can those in chat hear me?
Tickle said he still couldn't, so I don't know.
Yeah, we got you now. Yeah,
we got
Tickle's
you
good.
Ah,
Yay.
dang it.
Sorry, guys. It was a hell of a stream.
Celtics are horrid. Bucks not bad. Keep close. Are you watching the Bucks?
Bucks are-
You following the Bucks?
Bucks are having to come out saying they're not yet trading Giannis after 10 games.
Let's just say it's not. There's
That's just how it
trouble in
usually is.
paradise when it comes to
Even
the Bucks.
Milwaukee's is like, I'm not sure about the Bucks. But Keep Close is like, they're not bad.
There you go. All right, let's get to the next one here. Bengals and Chargers. All right, here we go. Bengals visit.
Sunday Night Football.
Yeah, we got a fun one here. Bengals visiting the Chargers here. The spread 1.5 in favor of the Los Angeles Chargers at home. The over/under total is now up to 47.5. Minus 126 for the money line to win the game for the Chargers. Plus 108 for the Bengals. Scotty, what do you like about this one? What are your thoughts? For me, I was on leaning on the total in this one. Actually, I love the over in this one. So, but
Man, I was just about to say, tell me under.
but I had it as one of my best bets. I took it off in favor of some of these other options, but that's a lean for me. Chargers coming off. They're starting to get the momentum going, especially when it comes to their offense. And then the Bengals. They're actually playing a team that has a good quarterback that can put up points. The defense for the Cincinnati Bengals, questionable. I think the Chargers can score points. I think the Bengals can score points. So the over is a little bit of a interesting play here for me, but
I mean, this over is higher than any Chargers game has gone all year.
Yep. Except
Yep.
for last
No,
week.
that wasn't a question. That was a statement.
Well, except for last week.
No.
the Chargers went. Oh, the Charger game was over last week.
Last week.
Yeah,
You're right.
last
You're
week
right.
was 44.
Last
Yeah,
because I cashed on that one.
Wait,
But yeah.
no, last week was 44.
27.
It's not over 47.
Oh, I thought it
44
said
is a
something else.
smaller
No, you're
number
right.
than
You're so
47.
good. No, you're good. I thought you said something else. I thought you said 44 and a half. That's my bad. Which is still higher, but go ahead. You got it.
Not a single over on, or not on 47 at least. The Chargers haven't hit 47 in a game all year. Bengals looked impressive offensively in a back and forth barn burner against Baltimore on Thursday night last week. Obviously, they have some additional rest here. This game means, I mean, it means a lot for both teams, but certainly more for Cincy. You lose this one, it might be time to put it to bed. You can't. You get to 4-7 if you're Cincinnati, and you got to win out at that point to have a chance. I would think. I don't think 9-8 is going to do it. So, yeah, it's a big one for Cincinnati. The Chargers are boring under Harbaugh, which I thought they would be, but it's a winning formula. They're 6-3 now. They've had a pretty. I mean, they've had a light schedule as well. You look at who they've played, if my internet wants to work here. Their wins are against Raiders, Panthers, Broncos, Saints, Browns, and Titans. So that's concerning. I mean, those are 6 terrible football. Well, all right, the Broncos are actually their best win of the year.
Yep.
And then you have losses to the Steelers, Chiefs, and Cardinals. In low scoring, but kind of whatever. And even that Steelers game, they lost Herbert, where it was almost, I think it was maybe tied or a field goal game, and then they lost Herbert for a big portion of that second half, and that game turned. My issue is LA doesn't have a home field advantage, so like being favored in this one in a game where like you don't have home field. I imagine before the season, a lot of Bengals fans probably scooped up tickets to go to this game, thinking it was going to be exciting. Maybe they regret it now at a 4-6 record. Maybe not. We'll see. Is T. Higgins back? Like, what's the health factor? I think it's going to be the under, though. It's not one of my bets, but I love the under in this. Love the under. I don't even know why. And maybe it's a trap, but like, why is it listed at the over? The Chargers haven't hit 44 last week was the highest total they've had all year.
I think the offense
I think it's more
is
the other side.
I
too.
think the offense is
Okay, but the other side has been certainly inconsistent offensively.
Right, but I think it's because T. Higgins might be coming back is why.
I mean,
inflated.
but if you look at the quality of the other side, right? The Titans offense, not great, right? Browns offense, and they still hit the over last week. Browns offense, not great. Saints offense, not great.
Got my friend an unnecessarily large rocket this year. He's over the moon. Car keys. What people in Boston use to start their cars. Not everyone thinks Cleopatra is beautiful. But that's how Julius Caesar. Why do nurses always carry red crayons? in case they need to draw blood. True, any LA Rams or Chargers home football game is a home game for the away team.
Correct.
Oh, and go Raiders. We suck right now.
I know what you
Thank
mean
you.
by right now.
Thank you,
but-
P3.
By right now, he means the last 25 years.
Right now, yes. Thank you. No, I mean, I think when you're looking at the over-under totals for the Chargers games, you're looking at they're carrying their weight. They put up 27, 27, 26 in their last three. Titans, Browns, and Saints weren't pulling their weight with 8 points, 7, 10 points, 17. I think, when you're playing, I mean, your defense looks good against those teams. I mean, the Chargers are coming in with a really good defense, right? I mean, they're playing solid, they're playing weak teams. And I think the Bengals have an opportunity with their offense to be a little bit better offensively and keep and help the Chargers out in reaching the over in this one, more so than those teams that they've played previously, because those offenses were not great. So they're starting to play teams with an actual quarterback. That's the difference. That's where you can kind of lean.
I think Harbaugh's good at limiting possessions. He's good at mucking the game up and making it ugly. And so I don't think the over hits here.
All right, maybe we do a side bet. Maybe do a side bet on it. We'll see.
I mean, you take a look at them, and everybody was having questions about the Chargers' defense going into this season, because every year everybody's all about the Chargers should be good. The Chargers should be good. They can only play what their schedule dictates. Now, for me, you look at their next 4 games, Scotty, and what does it tell you? Bengals, Ravens, Falcons, Chiefs. So they're definitely facing better competition in those 4 games than they have all season. I think you can agree with me on that.
I mean, they face the Chiefs, but yes.
By the way,
But I'm saying
yeah,
other than
yeah,
Mahomes,
and
because
it's-
obviously they got to face him twice. I get that. But I just think that you take a look at this, and yeah, they're 6-3. Yeah, they're not playing elite opponents, and that Denver is their best win. At Denver at 5-5. But my thing is, can they match up with a team like the Bengals, especially if T. Higgins comes back? I want to see what this defense can do with Chase and Higgins, and then their run game. Can they contain the Burrow to Chase? Because if they do that, then T. Higgins is going to be the one that burns you if he plays. So I just think that these next 4 games for them is going to really dictate to us if the Chargers are real or not. I'm not really worried about. I know Cincinnati's defense is absolutely terrible. We can agree with that. I mean, they should have beat Baltimore twice, and they're 0-2 against them, which is absolutely terrible considering what Joe Burrow and Chase did against them. So I think if Higgins is back, I do think that this is where, and you agreed that if they win these games, they sneak into the playoffs, and they're a dangerous team, especially if T. Higgins is healthy.
Yeah, they're dangerous against the Chiefs and maybe some other teams for sure. What I will say, if you like the over, you should absolutely love the Bengals.
Right.
You should parlay both those. Okay, this only hits if the Bengals win. The over only hits if the Bengals win.
Bengals, by the way, 5-0 against the spread on the road, but this will be one of their tougher tests that they've had. So we'll see. This will be an interesting game. I didn't think we were going to dive this much into the over and under total, but we'll keep an eye on this one.
I definitely think this is, because this has playoff implications for both of these guys, because Cincinnati can't fall behind and the Chargers can't fall behind in the AFC West, because they lose. They're only going to be at what 6-4, and Denver's 5-5. I'm just saying, they're going to be sweating.
We'll watch it on Sunday night. Let's go.
Yeah. So there you go. Bengals and Chargers. We'll keep an eye on this one. Maybe the bingo card will have plenty of over-under options for us.
Quentin Johnson's probably just going off in this game, to be honest.
Yeah.
I've always been a
Quentin
big
Johnson
fan.
going off for sure.
Big fan of his.
What else do we have in the chat? What Harbaugh has never struggled to maintain? What Harbaugh has ever struggled to maintain a one-trick offense? The Chargers aren't for real, says Gibby.
No, I mean, for real, in what instance? Can they beat a 4-6 Bengals team though, without being for real? Or, like, are they Super Bowl contenders? Of course not. They're probably going to make the playoffs, though. Probably. Not for sure, but probably. You look at the playoff picture in the AFC, and it feels like 6 spots are almost clinched, and there's a fight for the 7th.
Yeah. Last thing I'll say on the over-under total, again, last 2 weeks, 27, 27, 26, 3 weeks, 27, 27, 26. Pretty much the Bengals just need to put up 20 points. That's pretty much all they need to do. And then the Chargers just keep scoring what they have been the last 3 weeks. If we trust...
You understand the Bengals' defense is shit, right?
Yeah, so the Chargers can put up an extra, maybe they put up 34 in this one. And then the Bengals don't need to put up that much. You know what I'm saying? I don't know.
I mean,
Just saying.
that's
You're
gonna
just
be
talking about the over. Got it.
Over.
yeah, right.
Got it.
All I'm concerned about in this game is the over. That's the only thing that matters in the grand.
Heck,
No one cares about who wins. Just hit the over.
I think it's a bold choice to pick the over in a game with a team that hasn't hit that number all year.
Well, thank the Titans,
This would be the
Browns,
week
Saints, and all these other
that's true.
Panthers.
They played bad teams.
Thank all of them.
That's true.
All right, let's get to your boys, though. Let's get to your boys. We got the Chiefs,
Team
and we got the Bills.
of the century. No,
I mean, it's definitely one of the games of... If this is the game of the week, I think. Chiefs, Bills.
what do you mean? What do you mean you think?
It is. Yeah, I guess. It could be. Sure. Why not? Bills hosting the Kansas City Chiefs. The spread currently at 2.5 in favor of the Buffalo Bills. You and I both saw this line on Sunday when we were kind of looking ahead, and we both loved Kansas City. Anytime Kansas City's getting points, Patrick Mahomes getting points, it just feels like free money. Well, I'll get to my side in a little bit. I want you to touch on your boys here first. 46.5 is the over-under total now as we sit for this game. And minus 134 for the Buffalo Bills on the money line, plus 114 for the Kansas City Chiefs. Scotty, have at it.
Yeah, I mean this is a massive game in the playoff picture of the AFC, as far as seeding goes, at least. This has been a rivalry they play once or twice every year, it seems. A lot of times, 2 times. We know how it goes in the playoffs, but sometimes the Bills win in the regular season, Chris. That's just actually, more often than not, they do recently win in the regular season. Sergeant Recto put in the chat, which I know Mahomes 11-3 is an underdog. That's straight up. That's not against the spread. He's 11-3 in his career as an underdog, straight up. And the 3 losses he has, Chris, they were either tied or winning with 2 minutes to go in those games. And two of those were they put up offensively more than 40 points. They lost I think it was a 43-40 game to the Patriots in like 2018. One of the games also was that that famous Monday Night Football game against the Rams where they lost like 54-51. If you remember that one. And the other one, I'm trying to remember what the other loss was. It was actually against these Bills. 2 years ago in KC, they were up. Bills scored a touchdown under 2 minutes to take a 24-20 lead and win. This one will be interesting. I mean, I think it'll be close. I definitely love, teasing the Chiefs up. They don't lose. People just haven't caught on to the fact that, like, part of the reason the Chiefs games are always so close is there's the fewest amount of possessions in the league in games involving the Chiefs. The Chiefs have the fewest offensive possessions in the NFL this year. The fewest. Because when they have them, unfortunately, I would like it to be a little simpler than this. They usually are long drives that take time off the clock, and there just aren't a lot of possessions. So that equals what? A close game. Now, I might change my mind now. I might want the Chiefs in a teaser. I might want the Chiefs Bills in an under, and I might want the Chiefs actually just plus 2.5. Why would I not take the Chiefs plus 2.5? This is stupid. I took the Niners game. This is in the 15 games, now 16, that the Chiefs have been on a winning streak if they win this one. This is the 5th time during that stretch they've been underdogs. How many of those games have they lost, Chris? It's pretty easy. I said it was a winning streak. 0. They've lost 0 of those.
How many?
0. When you're on a 15-game win streak, that means you haven't lost in those games. But this will be the 5th time in now 16 games they've been underdogs in that stretch. And people just don't learn. They don't learn that Mahomes steps up his game. There's reinforcements on the way. Now, a couple of them, Isaiah Pacheco and Charles Omenihu, our defensive lineman, who's really, really good. It tore his ACL in the AFC Championship game last year. Hasn't played at all this year. He's been activated to practice this week. Isaiah Pacheco's practicing this week. Neither of those guys are going to play in this game, to be clear. But they're coming. Juju back to practicing this week. We had a great Juju game on Monday Night Football, and then he hasn't been back since because he's been hurt, unfortunately. So Juju and DeAndre haven't played in a game together. The Bills are going to be without their they might be without a couple wide receivers. Certainly Keon Coleman, their first round pick or early second round pick, wherever they got. I think it was the last pick of the first round with the trade.
He's out.
He's out for sure. We don't know if Amari Cooper is playing yet for sure, I believe. He's questionable at best.
Correct.
Josh Allen's a beast. This is a matchup of the 2 best quarterbacks in the game, in my opinion. And my opinion is not an opinion; it's just fact, Chris.
Don't forget about Dalton Kincaid's knee injury.
Dalton Kincaid out for probably season. He's out of this game. You got some question marks with the Bills. I love the Chiefs more and more and more and more, Chris.
Yeah.
Everyone's asking what's wrong with the Chiefs after their lucky win. It was. I mean, listen, it might have been a little fortunate, beating the Broncos last week, but I've never seen a team it's wild how disrespected they are for the fact that they've won 15 games in a row, including in that stretch beating this Bills team. I think the Chiefs go in and win. Can I change my bets? I want to change my bets.
I think you
Chiefs,
have.
I want Chiefs in a teaser. I want the under in this game, and I want Chiefs minus or plus 2.5.
You know what's funny, Scotty,
I want
is
all those. I want them all.
Scotty, it's interesting because when I send you my best bets, I usually send you mine so you can take a look at them. And I
promise you I don't pay attention.
No, I know. And I send you other leans. And so I had one of my best bets is a KC teaser as well. Plus 8.5.
I didn't really look at your leans. Did you have KC in there?
My other leans were again KC plus 2.5. I had KC Buffalo under 45.5. It's actually 46.5 now, so I'll take the 46.5 at this point because I think that there's some things to like about that as well. I mean, everything tends. I mean, Sergeant Erecto's throwing out some stats which are accurate. 11-3. You mentioned Scotty as underdog straight up. 12 1-1 against the spread is accurate as well in this one. And then the under the Chiefs. Road games averaged 39.25 points since the start of last season, 4th lowest in the NFL. Those games have gone under by almost 5 points on average at the most. I mean, this feels like a 2017, 23-20 kind of game. And honestly, the Bills defense, I think, is going to struggle against this Chiefs defense. The Chiefs defense, 3rd best against yard per play on the rush, yard per rush. And 3rd down conversions are just they're cashing in for the Kansas City Chiefs. It's just automatic at this point. It feels like they're doing well. There's a lot of things to like here. Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, you're giving Patrick Mahomes points. You're giving a team. You saw it last week in Denver. It's even when things aren't going well, that's the testament of a true good team. Is it's a team sport. When you're getting production from your special teams to save a game, your defense saves you games sometimes. Patrick Mahomes will win you some games. Like, you're getting production from every single aspect, all three levels. And that's why it's hard for me to go against the Chiefs in this one. They're my teaser leg, one of my teaser legs as well. I think it's crazy to me that this started at Bills -1 and it's gone all the way to Bills -2.5 up to this point this week.
I'm now so fired up. I'm doing a parlay of Chiefs and
So,
under.
Scotty.
Yeah.
Hold on, Rick. 1 second. Did you talk about the record you guys have on the road in those games? About against the spread?
When we're underdogs?
Yeah, against the spread.
It's probably
on the
pretty
road.
damn good.
So
Damn good.
obviously we know they're 12-5 against the spread. Take the points, right? Well, 11 of those games were on the road. What do you think your record was in those 11 games?
11 of those 14 must have been. That makes sense because we wouldn't be underdogs at home often. We're 10-1.
10-0-1. Mahomes is getting points. Take the points.
Take the points. It's an easy recipe.
Maybe not this week though, because guess what, Scotty?
Oh no!
Whoa, Rag.
No, Rec, don't even say it. Don't say it.
I got the Chiefs +2.5 in my best
You're an
bet.
asshole. This is sabotage.
You're
You don't even
an
believe
asshole.
what you're saying. You're just trying to sabotage my team.
Hey, I'm 9-3 in my last 3 weeks, so is it sabotage?
Yes, it still is.
We saw what happened last 2 times, Scotty. I'm just saying. We've physically been here and we saw what happened when Rex said stuff.
Keep Close says I put my rent check on them. Rex, stop it.
Bruh.
I do have the Chiefs +2.5 on my best bet.
You might want to cash that out. Keep Close, cash it out. Don't worry. December rent on Chiefs +2.5.
Damn you, Rack. Why?
What?
Why?
Don't-
do you do
Because
these
We were
things?
on such a good roll here, Rec, and you had
Just
to
for
ruin
that, Just for that, I'm taking Pittsburgh +3.
it.
okay.
Okay. Well, there you go. Chiefs Bills. It'll be the matchup of the weekend. Can't wait for it. It'll be. It will be.
I think everyone gets to see it if they would so choose. I think it's a national broadcast, even though it's in the afternoon slot.
Yeah. All right. Speaking
Better
of
be. No,
Steelers,
okay.
we got the Ravens and the
Let's go.
Steelers in this one. Ravens and Steelers. This will be a fascinating matchup. So I was talking
Do
to
a code yellow as you get into this. one.
Code Yellow. Baltimore visiting Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is getting 3 at home as a home favorite. Home dog in this one. The over-under set at 48.5. Steelers +152. Ravens -180. And these two teams, you're thinking to yourself, oh, the Raven. If you don't really keep tabs of like the historical kind of matchups, especially in this NFC or AFC North, you're just like, why is this so close? Ravens have an incredible offense. Steelers, how are they getting points at home? Well, it's
AFC
because
North.
these two teams play quite a bit. And these two teams play a lot of 3-point games. They're always close matchups. They're always competitive. The Steelers and Mike Tomlin know how to contain the Ravens and Lamar Jackson. And it's just one of those things where you just know what to expect. Pittsburgh has won 7 of the last 8. They're superior on special teams and defense. They have a better kicker. Tomlin as a home dog is 18-6-3 in his career, 12-3-1 since 2017. The Tomlin trends are pretty safe to fall back on. Tomlin as a favorite on the road, not so great. Tomlin in this sense as a home dog, 18-6-3 against the spread. You'll take that, and you'll know that he's very familiar with this Ravens team. If I had a bet, if I didn't want to relapse into a situation where I'm betting on the Steelers, I'm keeping my token. But if I did relapse, it would be Steelers plus 3.5. It's down to 3 now. I still lean 3. Don't love it. I would rather have the extra half point than that. But interestingly enough, you guys lost. Who's it? Highsmith?
Yeah, Alex Highsmith.
He is out, and yet this still went down from 3.5 to 3 instead of going the opposite direct. That just tells you everything you need to know about where the money's coming in for this game. But I'll let I set the table. Rec and Doc.
I'll go first, Rex, so you can break down your breakdown. But basically, it's the AFC North rivalry, one of the greatest in all of sports. Always close, always a dogfight, always lots of penalties, lots of ugliness. It's how it is in the North. But this year, I'm just worried about stopping the run. In the past, the Ravens, yeah, they've had running backs in the past that have been good, but they've not had a Derrick Henry good football player. And in our 2 losses this year, we've given up over 100 yards rushing. I feel like the biggest difference in this game is Derrick Henry. If we stop Derrick Henry, I think we'll be okay, because if there's one coach in this league other than Andy Reid, or you could say whoever that has done well against Lamar, it's Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin knows how to go up against Lamar Jackson, and the stats and the records prove it. But this is going to come down to, can we stop Derrick Henry? Russell Wilson is going to do his thing. Lamar, I still think, is going to do more than enough for his side, because he is playing better than he has in recent years. Since his MVP season, he's brought it back. He's good. I get that. But Derrick Henry is going to be the deciding factor on who wins this football game.
Look, when I'm agreeing with everyone here on a good thing about Mike Tomlin, just take it and run with it.
Wait. Are you saying something positive about Mike Tomlin?
Yeah, I know that, of course, I talk about how Tomlin's not really good at game planning, but if there is one person in this league that Tomlin can and will stop, it's Lamar Jackson. I'm pretty sure he prepares for Lamar more than any other player, even more than Mahomes when they're going up against the Chiefs. Lamar is usually a non-factor in this series in particular. Again, there's still other factors like Derrick Henry, the defense. There's still a lot. But at the end of the day, again, it's always a 3-point game. So even if the Steelers were minus 3.5, I'd be all over Baltimore. There is no reason why either team in this series should be 3.5 point favorites. This was the game to relapse on, Chris. 3.5 at home against Baltimore. It's insane.
Down to 3, still lean the 3, but yeah, agreed. If I go back to betting on Pittsburgh, Rec, it's opening up a door for me in the future.
I've only used bets on Steelers once or twice this year. I have not bet much on them, even though they're 7-2. I love the Steelers in this game. The plus 3.5 is free money. Even with the Ravens having the long, the little bit of a longer week after playing on Thursday, I just don't understand why you would put the number that high for either team. That's free money. If you want to be a little bit more risky, you could take the plus 145. It's going to be a 3-point game either which way. Who knows which way it goes, but Pittsburgh has to be the lean here at least.
Based on Scott's reaction, I have a good feeling that he likes the Steelers.
It's a trap.
Yeah, because why wouldn't he?
I think
I actually have been riding the Steelers a little bit, and they've been paying for me. So, last week that fortunately worked out. It was a little touch and go for a bit, but it worked out. Yeah, I mean, the Ravens beat up on the NFC. They obviously last week had a remarkable comeback in that Thursday night game, back and forth affair that could have gone either way. Steelers Ravens, I get plus points with the home team. And a game that like oddly feels important for the Steelers. It's important for both teams. Let's be clear, but like the Steelers' schedule, as we talked about, I think on Sunday night, and we talked about before the season started, their back half is. This is their first division game, so they got 6 games against their division and the Chiefs and Eagles. That's a gauntlet. Obviously, the Browns aren't quite up to what we thought maybe they could be, but still, that's a gauntlet. 2 games against the Ravens, 2 against the Bengals, Eagles, and Chiefs, all on that stretch. They've kind of owned the Ravens, not owned, but like. They played well against the Ravens, kept it close. They know each other well. Tomlin knows them. I think if you like the Steelers, you probably like the under as well, a little bit. I don't think Tomlin's like I don't think Tomlin's like let's get into a shootout against this team. Like we got Russell Wilson now. Let's fire it up and get into a game like last week where it's like 28-27. I don't think if this hits the over, I think the Ravens win. If it hits the under, I think the Steelers win. Or at least are right there, the Steelers. The only chance the Steelers have. If this goes over, I don't think the Steelers win this game.
Interestingly enough, you say that. Over trends are kind of happening here. Ravens 9-1 to the over, with averaging about 57.1 points, 2.5 more than any other team. The over margin is NFL high 9.4 per game. They also score 30. They can score 30 on everyone. I mean, they have the offense to do it. Pittsburgh's has a lead scoring D, but hasn't seen this version of Lamar Jackson. Pittsburgh averaging 30 points per game during 4-game win streak most recently. So they're scoring a ton of points. Ravens scoring a ton of points. Ravens defense is worse on the road, allowing 30 points per game on the road. So there's a lot of trends to the over with both of these teams. Only one Baltimore game has gone under. It was 47. 3 of the last 6 Pittsburgh games played in the 50s. So,
well, let me ask you this: when was the last time?
Doesn't this feel like a playoff game a little bit, though, Chris?
It does.
100% going to be.
Oh,
the last time?
Then dump all your money on the under.
Do you know?
Lamar Jackson in the playoffs? It's over. It's over.
The last time that this rivalry game went over what they're putting the total at was literally during COVID. All the rest of the times it's been 17-10, 17-10, 16-13, 16-14, 16-13, 20-19, 19-14. On November 1st, 2020, it was 28-24. That was the last time that this game even got close to being over 40, let alone 50. So that's why I'm like, whoa, at 48, I get like how the Ravens are. But this is an AFC North rivalry game. These games are totally different. And the track record for these two teams is going to be, like I said, and it's going to come down to like what you both have said, though. If Derrick Henry runs all over us, it's definitely going to be it might be closer to the over, like you said, Scotty. So
love the shots fired at Deontay Johnson by Tomlin this week.
Oh yeah, it seemed like it was so nonchalant too, you know.
Yeah, it was just like I have to focus on the guys that actually play. Basically, is what he said.
I mean, it was such a subtle, but it was
Deontay,
so great.
After that trade, that everyone's like, "Oh, they fleeced the Panthers. Can't believe they did it just for that." And then all of a sudden, he was in for like 5 plays last week for the Ravens. 5 snaps. There's something clearly there with Deontay Johnson where he's obviously head case and cancer that maybe we don't know. I don't think the public knows the full story of how big of a pain in the ass he is, and that's another credit to Mike Tomlin.
He keeps doing it with these receivers. He keeps doing it. I relapse every football Sunday, says Cuban. Tomlin has done this since 2019, says Sniper. Yeah,
it's funny. Lamar Jackson's been the Steelers one time in his career. It was 2019. Mason Rudolph suffered a concussion, so we saw the NFL debut of Doc Hodges, and that game went to overtime.
It's funny. Lamar's only beat the Chiefs once, and that was when we fumbled in field goal range to win it late.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. Well, there you go. That would be a fun one. Next up,
I mean, that's a great game as well. There's like 4 really, really, really good games this week.
a lot of good stuff. Seahawks and 49ers, though, coming up at you next.
That's
It-
I mean, it's a game that's occurring.
it's a game that is taking place. Yeah. So Seattle Seahawks on the road, underdogs by 6.5 in this one, 48.5 the over under total, and then now the Seattle Seahawks plus 240, San Francisco minus 295 for this particular NFC West battle. Yeah, let's dive in. Seattle. Can they stay up with a San Francisco team that's slowly starting to get things put together as a complete team with Christian McCaffrey coming back last week? What do you think, Scotty? Where what do you see in this game?
I'm still mad the 49ers didn't cover last week when I had them at minus 6.5. And they missed 3 field goals
Yeah.
for no reason.
Me-
and Debo was equally upset.
You and me, Tebow. He expressed his anger.
He got physical with it. So that was interesting. The Seahawks should be in a good spot. Obviously they lost to San Fran at home on a Thursday night game where they were down big early, kind of got close, and then it was stretched again. The 49ers team eventually has to make a statement, right? Like, this feels like maybe the time to make the statement. The Seahawks are kind of reeling a little bit, falling out of contention in the NFC West, although no one's out of contention in the NFC West. But the Niners, to me, are still like I still think if I had to rank like 3 teams in the NFC to represent the Super Bowl, even though the Niners are 5-4, I'd still probably put them in there. Maybe I'm just negligent to the fact that they're just not the same team and they've lost like Brandon Ayuk and things like that. They got McCaffrey back last week, but he didn't exactly blow up. Will he blow up this week? Who knows? But I think the Niners are a ticking time bomb where they have to have like a game where they just explode, and this might be it against the Seattle team that I haven't been that high on all year. Never really believed in them. I just defensively, offensively, they're probably slightly below average at best. And I don't know if you can hang with a Niners team that's got McCaffrey back, gonna be focused in on this game. But this is the chance for Seattle to. I mean, this is the biggest game of Seattle's season right here. So,
Yep.
because of that, I'm not going to touch it. Also, there's kicking problems in San Fran, I hear. So I'm not going to touch it because of that. But like the Niners, if they want to be for real, like you lose this game, you get to 5-5, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, maybe you don't make the playoffs. There's only so many games that you get to play in the NFL, Chris. I think it's 17, if I'm not mistaken.
I think you might be on to something there. Yep.
So I don't know. They escaped barely with a long field goal win last week in a game they should have won against Tampa Bay on a short week at home. And Tampa Bay was on a short week at home against the Niners. You get McCaffrey back. I thought they'd stomp them. I'm conflicted.
Well,
I hope the Niners lose. I want the Seahawks to win.
I feel like this is one of the most efficient lines. I think this is right where it needs to be. 6.5 is right where. I mean, this is landed. That's where the game fits, and that's why it's a no bet for me. DK Metcalf full participant Monday, and so he is potentially coming back. He's missed a couple games, so Noah Fant I think hasn't practiced too much for the Seattle Seahawks.
Oh no, not Noah Fant.
Noah Fant.
It's a huge loss.
Geno Smith tied for the NFL lead in interceptions. Home favorites between 6 and 7 points, which is where this obviously lands, are 46.8% against the spread over the last 20 seasons. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think this is an efficient number. I don't want to mess with it. I can see the 49ers winning this one. And they could easily win by a touchdown or more. I just these NFC West, like we're getting into some of these divisional games that might, you just don't want to sweat out. So if I had a lean, it would be 49ers, but I have zero confidence in that. So hence why I didn't
let
bet.
me ask you something if I can sway either of you on this, since you're not betting on it. When did Geno Smith take over as quarterback for Seattle?
This is year 3.
Correct. 2022 he took over.
Yep.
So since he took over, guess what the 49ers have done against Seattle in that time frame?
Massacre.
They crushed
Won
them.
6 straight with an average victory of at least 14.6 points, with the closest being 8 points. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Add that to Seattle losing 5 of its last 6 by an average of 12 points. I think that this means more to San Francisco than it does Seattle. This is one of my bets where I'm going San Francisco in this. I just think that there's just too much going against Seattle for them to have a chance in this game. I mean, obviously a chance, but not a real chance. I think that this is a game where San Francisco gets it going again, because let's face it, look where they're at in this playoff race over there in the NFC.
I mean, yeah. I mean, San Francisco loses this game, and
it's convincing. I will say this.
That's why I'm just asking.
I guess why I still shade it is like, this is a must-win for the Seahawks if they want to be in contention, and they're coming off a bye, so they have a 2-week preparation on this one. They're all in on this one. That's the only reason that makes me nervous. But everything you said makes a lot of sense.
Yeah,
for sure.
That's why I figured I'd ask. It's an intriguing question. Well, statement.
Yeah, I mean, Seattle wins this game, and they're tied with San Francisco. Rams are tied currently with Seattle. So, I mean, this is a super tight NFC West.
Those Kyler Murray Cardinals.
Cardinals 6-4, leading the division.
Right.
So, I mean,
nobody thought it was going to be 6-4.
Honestly, Seattle wins this game, and they're right in the mix. Everybody
right in that division.
Everyone's got a chance.
Right. So you're saying there's a chance.
So you're telling me there's a chance.
You're telling me there's a chance.
I would like the Niners to lose all their games. So maybe I might be not the right person to ask.
Yeah. What's up, Peace and Grease? How we doing? Welcome in. Let's get to, I think this is our last game of the night. This is the Commanders at Eagles.
The first game of the weekend, last game of our night.
First game of the week. This will be taking place tomorrow night. Commanders visiting the Eagles, and this game will, let me make sure the line is still around 3.5 in this one. It is still 3.5 in favor of the home Philadelphia Eagles. The over-under total 48.5, and the Philadelphia Eagles minus 200, and Commanders plus 168 on the money line to win the game. Scotty.
Yeah.
What are you looking for?
I mean, it's a massive one in the NFC East, right? Like, these are the only two. The Cowboys and Giants are just bottom dwellers. You got a 7-2 Eagles, 7-3 Commanders team that no one saw coming. Close loss last week to obviously the Steelers in a game that could have gone either way. Eagles are hot. They've won, I believe, 5 straight. And some of those in very, very convincing fashion against some bad teams like the Cowboys seem to be. Eagles offense is tough though, dude. Like, even without, everyone's like, they lost Jason Kelce. I'm like, well, Saquon Barkley is back to being just a monster. I mean, what he did 2 weeks ago, I've never seen a human being on the planet Earth do what he did with the backwards, like, whatever you call that. I
The-
don't even
the
know.
hurdle?
I don't even know what
It
you
was
say
insane.
about that. They're undefeated with AJ Brown. They're 5-0 with AJ Brown when he's healthy in games. They're getting healthier. I still think their coach sucks, and I think that's the biggest hindrance the Eagles have. I mean, Sirianni's a disaster and will ultimately cost this team anything they may have going at this point. Defensively, though, they've actually been phenomenal over the last 5 weeks. I think maybe the number one defense by EPA per play in all of football over the last 5 weeks. You talk about this Eagles team. Now they've played some bad offenses, no doubt about that. This is the first time they've actually played an offense that has a dual threat quarterback. So it'll be interesting to see how they handle that with a Jaden Daniels. I mean, a rookie, but still a dual threat that's been really, really obviously great this year. Commanders, short week on the road. I think I had this at a bet of the week, but I'm changing off of this, Chris, because I'm taking the Chiefs in 3 of my 4 bets. Don't at me. I don't care. I did have the Commanders plus 3.5. I think the Eagles. I don't know. I want that partially was just my hatred for the Eagles, but I think the Eagles are pretty good right now. I think they're playing well on both sides of the ball. They're confident. They're healthy. They're playing pretty well. I know the Commanders probably, if they could catch balls, would have won last week and been 8-2, and I think they're pretty good as well. I'm really excited to watch this game tomorrow. I think it's going to be one of the best Thursday night games. May not match last week's, which was insane, but like this one should be a lot of fun. My lean is still Commanders. I think 3.5 in this game. A Commanders team that's been pretty good is a little too much, a little too rich, but I'm probably moving off this game, Chris. So put that in the notes.
Well, we'll update this. We'll do
Yeah.
it before we get to our best bets. I'll update our best bets and make sure that we're all in alignment here for you. This game, my lean was one of the leans that I sent you earlier on this afternoon was Eagles minus 3.5 in the sense that, to your point, the Eagles are just playing really good football right now. I think the Commanders, they're dealing with some offensive line injuries. I think starting left tackle Brandon Coleman, center Tyler Bides or whatever his name is.
Wiley's been
Wiley limited in practice, so he's
friend alert.
he's got shoulder issues going on. So yeah, there's some things happening on that offensive line I'm not super excited about. Defense in Philly ranks number 1 in EPA allowed. I think you mentioned that as well. So they're just, it feels like Philly's just on a nice little momentum right now with how they've been playing. They got in a rhythm. Saquon's been playing insane. Yeah, I just think that this is a tough spot for Washington. But here's the thing, like these division games, Washington somehow shows up randomly in the weirdest ways against some of these teams. Eagles are 6-0 with Brown in the lineup, which again, AJ Brown not on the injury report, I don't think as of right now. So if I had a lean, it would be Eagles minus 3.5. I don't have it as one of my best bets, but that's kind of where I would go. Jaden Daniels, by the way, his legs haven't been a factor for them since he had that rib injury on that 50-yard scramble like a while back, and he hasn't really done much else with his legs since. He's been throwing the ball a lot, and that's been fine. So I don't know. This one is interesting. I would lean Eagles minus 3.5 if I had a bet in this one.
All your points are valid, and all I'll say in return is Nick Sirianni.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah, that's true.
Maybe the worst coach in the NFL.
Yeah, that's true. If there's a way, there's a will, there's a way for him to find ways to lose games.
Fuck it up.
Yeah.
He will find a way to fuck it up.
Joe Quills, Eagles by 10. Last two championship teams in Philly won despite their head coach / managers. Eagles got to rest their key players on Sunday, and Jordan Mailata comes back tomorrow night. So the offensive line will be back together. Lots of nice trends for the Philadelphia Eagles, it seems. If the refs could do their job, then maybe the Steelers-Commanders game would have been better. The sniper. Nick Sirianni is a valid point, says Peace and Grease.
Yeah, appreciate that, Peace and Grease.
I
As an
mean,
Eagles fan, that means a lot.
This could be one of the best games of the week too. If I'm just saying
This
the
is gonna be a great
explosiveness. I just think that this is going to come down to who has the ball, the classic who has the ball last, and I think it's going to be the Eagles by like a field goal, something like that. You know what I mean?
So you're on the commie side at 3.5.
If he thinks it's a field goal game, I would say that, yes. I had this as one of my bets, but I'm moving off it.
Thanks to Rick.
No.
I know,
I'm going all in on Chiefs.
No,
Canada
he's
relief,
going with my
sorry.
bet. He's agreeing
going
with me.
all in
No.
on Chiefs.
He
Bills
trusts
fan
my
here,
picks.
Down. Chiefs are going down. Well, they
All right.
isn't really something they do.
So you got KC plus 2.5. I'm updating your picks live right now. Plus 2.5. You have KC in your teaser with a game that we haven't discussed yet. We'll both get to that game here in a minute.
By a million.
KC Buffalo under 46. Is that the current line? Let me give you the current line. Let me make sure that hasn't. It is 46.5. So I'll give you the extra half point under.
I'll take it.
Okay. So 46.5, which I like that one a lot.
I should hit 47.
And then you have Pittsburgh plus 3 as your final.
I'll keep that one.
Okay. All right, let me get this updated real quick, and we're gonna show you all of our best bets, so you know exactly where we're at.
While he's doing it. The Avs just took a lead, 3-2 in the third. 10 minutes or so left. How did they do it? They're just great. By the way, speaking of reinforcements, the Avs are about to get a lot on Friday.
Getting Valerie.
They're getting a Chuskin back. They're also probably getting Wood back, and one other guy I can't think of right now, also coming back.
Well,
So
they need
it. They'll almost be full strength. They'll have one guy. Kind of two if you count Landeskog, but that's hard to count because he hasn't played in 8 seasons. So
Yeah. Dude just needs to retire.
I think he's gonna play this year. I really do.
All right.
No, that's exactly a good thing right now for Colorado.
Maybe not. We'll see. I mean, who knows? No one knows what he'll look like. It'll probably be a bad thing. I agree, but gotta give him a shot.
All right, I got these updated. So let's go ahead. Let's take a look and make sure these are all accurate for you, Scotty. Here are our best bets of the week. Go ahead. I think there's only one game that you didn't talk about that we will be covering on your side, and I share the same outlook on that one. So go ahead, run it down. What do you like?
Yeah, I have Miami down to 1.5 against the Raiders at home. Miami. Everyone's like, oh, they're 1-2 with Tua, but they don't actually. You got to look at like they could easily be close to 3-0. Like they lost by a point to the Cardinals, and they lost on a 60+ yard field goal to the Bills at Buffalo. But they've put up 27, 27, and then 23 last week. The offense is clicking far more than it with Tua back than it was. You have a Raiders team that might be, I mean, that's a bottom 5 team in the NFL. They're lost right now. Antonio Pierce is trying to protect his job by firing everyone else on the staff. We'll see if that works, but I tried to tell Raiders people, I tried to tell you before the season, Antonio Pierce is an awful hire, and now we're not even a year into it, and here we are. He's probably fired after the season. Raiders are a mess, so Give me Miami -1.5. They don't even have to be that focused on this game. They'll take care of business here. And honestly, they get Raiders, Patriots the next 2 weeks. They get to 5-6. The Dolphins are not out of the playoff picture in the AFC.
Yeah, for the same reasons, I'll hit on that one as well. That is my other teaser I have alongside the Atlanta Falcons +8.5. So for all the reasons you said, I feel like Miami is a nice pick here. They are, as long as Tua's in there, they just feel like they have a better chance to win a lot of these games, more so than they did before. So love them getting just a win here. And then also Green Bay, you obviously know about, -5.5. Detroit, I'm taking the big number, Scotty. I'm taking the big number against a bad Jacksonville team. Wins of 30+ against the Cowboys and Titans in recent weeks. I'm grabbing the 13.5. I think this should be like 14.5, somewhere in that range. And I'm getting probably a couple points of value potentially in this one. Nothing from Mac Jones makes me feel like they're going to be, in a spot where they're going to compete against a high octane team like the Detroit Lions. So this one, Jared Goff, he's going to be back to mistake-free football. I think he's going to be in a good spot here. I don't think the Jacksonville Jaguars present much of a challenge, and I think this is this feels like a bigger blowout than even this big number. I don't typically take big numbers, but this feels good here. And then finally, Houston -1.5, teased down alongside Kansas City at 8.5. Houston playing the Dallas Cowboys on, I believe this is Monday night. Is this, if I'm not mistaken?
Gross.
Yeah. Monday night.
I think it is. I think you're right.
Dallas Cowboys at home in this one. I teased the Houston Texans down to win this game by 1.5, or by 2, basically. So Houston's just in a better spot. Dallas is just crumbling. The injuries, the turmoil, everything under the sun. This they're done. They have a fork in them.
They were lifeless last week. All they can talk about this week is whether or not to put curtains in their stadium. That's when you know your season's over.
Talking about the sun.
It's done. It's done. Houston wins this game by at least 2 points, minimum, if not more. So that's my other teaser along with KC. So there you go. Those are our best bets of the week.
Probably fade them if you're smart, but I feel I'm going 4-0 this week, Chris.
You know what?
I'm serious. I'm going 4-0 this week.
I feel more confident about my picks this week than I ever have. So I feel great about. We're going 8-0, baby.
Let's do it.
Can we get an 8-0? If we're gonna get an 8-0 week, it's happening this week. So there you go. Anybody but the Cowboys. Rec, Doc, any other games that we didn't talk about or that you really love that you just want to just reinforce how you feel about them?
I'll just go real quick. I agree with the Packers, Chris. I also agree with the Lions. I'm actually taking the Vikings spread versus the Titans, and then I'm actually taking the -7.5 that we have for Texans and Cowboys.
I think you covered all the games that I have.
What?
I think here y'all covered all the games that I got again. Bears, Packers. I guess I got the Bears because usually when you fire a coach, good things tend to happen the next week. I got the Steelers because why would you give any team 3.5 in that series? You got the Chiefs +2.5 because Chiefs as underdogs, and then they have the Chargers -1.5. Just gotta beat the Bengals.